Meet cream, the scientifically engineered cream that fixes everything. Its original intent was to cure facial blemishes, but cream is so good, it can pretty much cure anything from botched surgeries, general ugliness, and amputated limbs. It could even cure death. But cream isn't limited to humans. Cream can be used for any and everything. If your TV's broken, just use cream. Car engine fails, slap some cream on it. It can fix anything considered broken. It even has the ability to create riches. With cream, there's no point in having hospitals since everything can be cured with this magical product. You can even inject it into your brain to cure mental disorders or disabilities, and even general stupidity. But by abusing cream, humanity has lost its sense of purpose. People have become robotic in nature since their everyday lives have become redundant. But not to worry, cream can fix that too. It's almost like cream is alive, as explained by the creator. Since cream is constantly fixing other things, it's also constantly fixing itself. At one point, someone jumps into a large pool of cream. It works its magic and turns this person into a mentally and physically perfect person by changing them into pure light energy. When asked if cream will ever run out, the doctor admits that they're actually 6 months away from running out of the ingredients to make it, but they've come up with a solution. Cream 2.0 can duplicate itself. Now it's an infinite product. So humanity takes its cream usage a step further. They use it to grow greenlands, multiply food resources, cure people who've died in war and violent attacks. And because it can now cure all the world's problems, money becomes useless. This single issue pisses off the top 1% so much that they order a massive smear campaign for cream and its creator. Suddenly, the news is filled with articles about how harmful cream is to society. Stories come out about the creator being a terribly abusive predator. Footage is released showing how cream is terrorizing the world with violence, death, and disease. Duplicating food is now a crime called food piracy. Over time, the public becomes horrified and disgusted by cream and is calling for the destruction of the product. The creator is taken to prison and everyone gathers around in an angry mob to burn their cream. Eventually, a new product is released into the market. Meet New Cream, a product that cures skin blemishes and is only to be used topically. Cream is a story about class privilege and how the media plays a huge role in swaying the opinion of the public. By the end, we see how the wealthy ultimately have control on the way society is run. In the beginning, cream was intended to fix physical imperfections, but when you're given a fix-all solution, it's no surprise that it's taken advantage of. Even though cream was considered the perfect resource to solve all the world's problems, it did have its drawbacks. People became obsessed and started relying on cream to fix every problem and issue they had. People lost their individuality since cream would make them as smart or beautiful as they could possibly be. Suddenly, everyone has the same level of intelligence and the same level of beauty. Nobody sticks out when everyone has the same attributes. Cream also took away emotional capabilities like sadness, depression, and all other negative emotions. Even though this seems like a good thing, it caused everyone to become robotic in their emotional expressions. Even though it sounds amazing to live in a society where everyone is forever happy, happiness cannot exist without negative emotions present. A society that's forever happy becomes a society whose everyday lives feel redundant because happiness would technically no longer exist. Alternatively, with cream, society got rid of the class system. Suddenly everyone was equal and was on a level playing field. Nobody had extra resources they could use to get ahead. This makes me question how this would change society in real life. If everyone had the same ability to do a job or complete a task, then who would be in power? Would governments dismantle? Would this cause more danger to erupt in the world? If everyone essentially held the same power, would this lead to catastrophe or would it lead to world peace? To me, it seems idealistic to believe cream would do only good. You have to remember that everyone would have access to cream, even people who don't want to do good. This means every evil person you can think of would have access to cream. Class is a major theme in this film. The moment money became obsolete, everything changed. Those at the top of society's hierarchical pyramid became frightened. Suddenly, they saw how cream would strip away their power. As a result, they immediately put a stop to it. Cream had the ability to make the world into an idealistic place where everyone and everything was equal. But this also meant that nobody would have power over society. Nobody would call the shots anymore or make decisions for everyone to follow. The greed of the top 1% took over. When they began ordering smear campaigns for cream once their positions of power were threatened, they turned to the media, whose influence worked in swaying public opinion. The media was able to take this cure-all product and villainize it to the point where people became so fearful they burned cream in angry mobs. The media's influence created violence and rage and ultimately brainwashed the public into fearing this product that cured all their problems. But the media cannot be blamed for everything. The greed of society also contributed to cream's downfall. People took advantage of cream's properties and started using it to excessive extents just because they could. Evil people took advantage by using cream's ability to multiply and using it to spread disease and contribute to other causes that harm society. In the end, cream's main issue was its ability to give everyone and everything power. This gave everyone a god complex, and instead of wanting to make the world better, they became more focused on their selfish desires. This film makes you question how society would react if the solution to all our problems were given to us. Would solving everything make society better or worse? Would people become selfish because they're given everything they want? Would people lose interest in life because they no longer have anything to work towards? It's tough because as much as I may want to believe that having a solution for everything would create this perfect utopian society, everyone would have to work together for the same goal. And unfortunately, I just don't know if humans are selfless enough to make that happen. In the short film Curve, we follow a woman who wakes up on the ledge of a curved surface high above a dark abyss. This film made me so anxious, and I definitely recommend watching the entire thing if you want to get the full experience. A woman wakes up on the curved edge of a steep surface. She's startled when she realizes she's literally on the edge of the curve. She flinches, but the movement pushes her further downward. A loud ringing comes from the abyss below, which honestly makes the situation even more unsettling because now we know there's something down there, but we don't know what it is. She looks to the top of the cliff and decides her best bet would be to try and climb her way out. But the surface is smooth. There's nothing for her to grab onto. She tries maneuvering her foot out from underneath her, but her movements only make her slip further down. She notices her bloody hands are messing up her grip, so she wipes the blood on her sweater and tries once again to move upward. This time it works. She looks across to the other side and sees a pair of bloody handprints from the person who was trapped down here before her. Not only was this person in the same position she was and died, but their death had been fairly recent. Even though she's terrified of facing the same fate, she continues to wipe her palms and slowly push herself higher up. When suddenly it starts to rain. In a desperate attempt, she pulls the chain from around her neck and wraps it around her hand. I'm guessing part of her hoped that the chain would catch on to something if she slipped down any further, or she tried to somehow get grip. Unfortunately, she meets the same fate as the ledge's previous victim. This film made me so anxious while watching it, but that's exactly the point. We watch as the woman's desperation for survival takes hold, because she knows from experience that freaking out would only make her situation worse. Despite her situation, she tries desperately to survive, even though there's clearly no way out. There were some people on TikTok saying she should just slide over to the corner and then crawl her way up, but her foot looks broken. We all saw her try to move. The moment she moved even a slight centimeter, she was slipping down, so I really don't think she'd be able to get to the corner anyways. Realistically, the surface was too smooth to pull herself all the way up. Even if she made it off the curved ledge, I can't see how she would pull herself the rest of the way. Part of her understood that there was no way out, but she kept trying despite her odds. Her willingness to remain hopeful in such a situation was kind of inspirational, because I don't think I would have held on to much hope, honestly. Even when she looks across to the other side and sees the bloody prints of the previous victim, she still remains hopeful and even uses their mistakes as a lesson for her own survival. She understood their loosened grip from their bloody palms led to their death, and she tries not to make the same mistake. In the end, she saw her fate flash in front of her face, yet she still fought for survival. In the short film There's a Man in the Woods, we follow a teacher whose life was ruined when one of his students spread a rumor about a serial killer preying in the woods near the elementary school. A teacher takes his students out to pick honeysuckle from a nearby bush by the woods of an elementary school. But one of his students, named Sid, wants all the honeysuckle to himself, so he starts a rumor about a mysterious man in the woods. By the end of the day, the man in the woods has become a serial killer with bat ears and hides bodies behind the school. The teacher tries his best to let his students know it's only a rumor, but it's too late. The kids are already terrified of the woods and won't go near the bush. Sid is thrilled to see his plan working, and now he gets to have all the honeysuckle to himself. The moment the kids go home, they tell their parents about the serial killer in the woods, and all hell breaks loose. The parents are making enraged calls and emails, accusing the teacher of neglecting the safety of their children. And when the teacher claims Sid is a liar, he gets fired. He'd been at the prime of his career, and now it's all over because nobody wants to hire a teacher with his reputation. Rage builds along with his dependence on drugs and alcohol. Finally, he snaps. So he heads to the school, stalks through the woods, and catches Sid by the honeysuckle bush. He reaches into his pocket, and think we can guess what happens next. In the end, the teacher became the man in the woods. We're left questioning who's really the villain. Sid did cause all of this with a single lie, but the teacher does end up proving Sid right. By the end, there is a man in the woods. Now it looks like Sid had been telling the truth all along. The parents who accused the teacher of neglecting their children and putting them in danger had been correct. We don't see it, but it's assumed he ends up killing Sid. If he could spiral into this sadistic child killer after losing his job, then it makes me wonder if he had it in him all along. I understand he's pissed, but child murder is a bit extreme. Had it not been Sid starting the rumor that set off this course of events, maybe it could have been something else that another student did that would have ultimately led to him snapping further down the line. We see the teacher's rage building throughout the film. He started off as a man who loved his job and liked spending time with his students, but all it took was one bad day to ruin everything. It was a very good representation of real life. All it takes is one bad day, one bad moment to ruin an entire experience. This film also showed the power of deceit. Sid had created this imaginary man in the woods for his own selfish needs, but by the end, everything comes full circle. Sid created this monster that wouldn't have existed had he not spoken it into reality. He's only a kid, so he doesn't understand the repercussions of his words, but honestly, not many people do. Alternatively, maybe the monster within the teacher existed all along, and Sid just happened to be the one who brought this evil to the surface. Maybe this film is supposed to show the wolf in sheep's clothing. The teacher appeared to be a respectable and loving person in the beginning, but by the end, we're shown his true colors. Perhaps he'd always had this evil nature inside of him, and he was just hiding behind a facade.